Hey everybody, welcome to a Tatter-a-fact at the Girls Inc. studio live in Las Vegas, and we're just going to get right to it. I got one of my besties here, Mary.
Hi, Teryn.
Hi, Mary. And you brought your bun along with you
course.
today.
Yeah, it's a little more free. It's not so tight.
Do you ever go anywhere without the bun?
Yes. It's 42 degrees in Colorado, so I wear my hair down.
You do?
I do wear my hair down in Colorado when I'm not working.
I don't know if I would recognize you with your hair
You know
down.
what? That's when I don't want to be recognized. When I would be in Florida, I think I tattooed half of Florida, honest to God, in the beginning, that I would wear my hair down so nobody would recognize me. And I'm not even kidding you. And they'd walk right past me.
Yeah, so why do we not, when we're out and about, want to be recognized by our clients? Because same thing, I'll be in Trader Joe's or, you know, Target or somewhere, and I'll see clients, and I just like do a beeline. I duck behind clothes. I run. I get out of the line.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to see my clients in public, and I don't really know why.
I think we want to disassociate from work. We want to have a life outside of tattooing.
Yeah, maybe, right?
I just, honest to God, I'm the same way. I'm like, oh, I told my husband, run the other direction. I just, I don't want to talk about work,
Yeah, and it's not that we don't like our clients.
Yeah.
It's just, there's something about running into your clients.
They have their
outside of
time, and then we need our time, our family time, and our me time. And I don't want to talk about eyebrows or how they faded and when can I see you again. And no,
it's important. And I think the longer you're in this industry, or the longer you're in business, own a company, the longer, older you get, I think you realize like how important family time with friend, time outside of work, downtime, relaxed time, fun.
Hence your four-wheelers.
Yeah, my four-wheelers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, really, really important.
Yeah.
I think it allows you to decompress, and it kind of fuels you for the next big project or challenge or stressful day. So.
Well, I'm sure in the beginning, especially when we were in the beginning of our careers, we did everything, and we talked at 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night to our clients. They dictated what we felt obligated to be a part of. So I work normal business hours. When when I'm off the clock at work, I don't answer my phone calls. I really just feel like they almost take advantage of us sometimes.
Yeah.
And I just want to have a little bit of more just me time, alone time. I don't want to get resentful at my clients because they're like messaging me at 2 a.m. or, over stupid stuff, things that we've already talked about.
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So it just gets so aggravating when they don't take our time into consideration.
Yep.
And if we did this to them, the tables were turned and we were messaging them at 2 o'clock in the morning to confirm their appointments, they'd be irate.
Yeah.
I
remember those days. Those days don't sometimes those days seem like light years ago, and sometimes they only seem like, yesterday. But I can absolutely remember when I booked all my own appointments. I returned all the calls myself. It was just me in a 100 square foot room, and I had a massive clientele. I was seeing clients, 6 days a week, 10, 12-hour days, easily 10, 12-hour days. And to the point, Mary, where, Kat and I got married. It wasn't, now everybody knows it wasn't like a legal marriage, but we went to Hawaii and we got married, and I felt so obligated and tied to my clientele that even on our week, our wedding week in Hawaii, I would get up like an hour and a half before Kat, call all my clients, book them, confirm their appointments, because I was so afraid if I missed even a couple of days of doing that, like I'd lose my clientele or they'd be upset. I'd lose appointments. So, now, I got a front desk, that does all that. But I think everybody starts out doing their own books, their own bookings, their own callbacks, their own everything. You're a one-man show. And I think that's kind of the way it probably should be. That's how you learn your business inside out, right?
Without a doubt. I'm just me and my daughter. I don't have a big, huge staff or anything. And I was old school up until 2 years ago. I went to Vigara. I have a book every year of my clientele. I just feel like what we've learned as we grew as artists and as trainers, I carry this over into my trainings to my students and let them know, don't let them walk all over you because they'll just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Set boundaries, stay confident, and let them know this is my time frame. I'll respond to phone calls and emails and messages, and I just feel like people, a lot of my students, they're working till midnight. I'm like, are you crazy? They're working till midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I have done that in the past, and every now and then, I will still work until the wee hours. But, on projects and, collaboration, other things, not, client callbacks. But I remember someone early in my career telling me it's not the work, like the actual procedures and the craft itself that will burn you out. It's client management. If you don't get that under control and manage your clientele, early on, and have boundaries, rules, guidelines, then they're going to burn you out. Yeah. And there was absolute truth into that, because I didn't set boundaries, I didn't set guidelines. They could call me on my personal cell phone. I didn't have a business phone back then. I just had my cell phone, and all my friends, family, and clients have the same number. Yeah. So it's like you couldn't get away from your clients, when they have your personal cell phone. Yeah. So things are different now for me. I think people think of Girls Inc. as like a big company, and we're not. We're a small company, but we do have a big presence.
Exactly.
But we've got a small team. And so we all pitch in.
Well, you're on an efficient team. Everybody has their duties and their job titles, and they're specific. So it runs like a smooth ship. Yeah. You're a good captain because you lay down the law on what each person does, and it gets done. I don't want to mess with you. I wouldn't mess with you.
I don't have to lay down the law. No,
well, you know what I mean.
When you have like a good team, can you imagine me laying the law down with like a willow? I mean, look at her. She'd like skateboard all over me. I mean, she's way taller than me. She's way bigger than me.
We all are.
I know. I mean, Olivia, I'll mess with Olivia a little bit. She don't scur me that much, but but Willow, no. No, Willow's a red, she's redhead. Those redheads, they're fiery. So no, but I'm lucky that I have never, ever, 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 like, really, with the team, I've had to lay down the law or do this or do that. It's like, I'm really lucky. We got a great team that love what they do. They believe in Girls Inc. They want Girls Inc. to be successful. I think we were just talking about this morning in a team meeting. And I flat out asked them, like, do you like the way I run things? Do you like that I talk to you? I'm transparent with you about our numbers and if we're up in sales or down in sales. And and Olivia was, well, go ahead, tell her.
I think that's what I meant by lay down the law. You have expectations.
I definitely have expectations. I have high expectations of myself. Yes. So I have high expectations of everybody around me.
Exactly.
I really do.
That's what I meant by lay down the law. I know you're not like a sheriff. I know that. No. You know what I mean.
But every now and then you do get an employee or an artist where you do have to lay down the law because, they don't have a good work ethic, or, you start seeing toxic, behavior, personality traits, and you do have to lay down the law. But right now we have a great team, and Olivia, you like how I guess I'm not your typical
4'11".
No, I'm not your typical company owner. I think where I hide the numbers and I only clue them in on what I want them to clue in. I mean, Kat and I are pretty open and transparent about the innards of the company and where we are, sales and whatnot. And Olivia, you said that you said it was weird at first because she came from corporate,
right?
So I asked her, you come from corporate, and in corporate, company owners don't really talk to you.
No, they keep you in the dark.
They keep you in the dark, and so she said it was like weird at first, but now you're kind of.
I like the transparency.
Yeah. And it kind of, and I think you said something like it gives you, it kind of clues you in on like what you need to focus on, what's working, what you need to focus on if they know, the company numbers. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think it's a great, I was being coached by an entrepreneur who coaches company owners maybe about 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. And she was asking me how I talk to my staff. And I told him, I said, I'm kind of maybe a weird company owner, but, I'm very human with them. And, so I tell them about the company numbers, but, when we're down monthly or up monthly or, what area of the company is a little weak. And she actually like applauded me on that and said that is a very new way of running companies. And the more modern CEO and company owner are starting to talk to their employees and share that information with their employees. And so it's a new model of running a company. I'm like, wow, I'm way ahead of everybody because I've always kind of done that.
I do the same thing with my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. She knows everything that happens.
Yeah. I think it's good. I think it's really good. I think it draws your team into the company and
makes them want to work a little harder too.
I think it makes them
when you're successful, they're successful.
Yeah, well, that's the dang truth,
yes,
you know.
Yes.
And vice versa. When they're happy and successful, we're happy and successful. It's definitely this thing. So you're here in Vegas. You're doing your brow class. You come up periodically throughout the year doing your brow class. Always sells out.
Yeah.
Nano brows. Nano queen. Right? That's you. Mary Ritcherson. When I think of Mary Ritcherson, besides thinking of you as one of my best friends, I think nano queen. That's what I think of immediately. I think every single person in the industry that knows you or anything about you considers you like mother of hair strokes, machine hair strokes, Queen Mary, nano queen. That's what you are, Mary, to so many people. You taught all those people. I know you could go and name a whole slew of them who then ended up super skilled, super talented, and ended up trainers with big names, big followings, big classes, hundreds, if not thousands of students under their own belts. And now those trainers have produced students that, and so like, do you feel like you're creating like that's all like your legacy? Do you feel like you're creating this legacy of generational PMU artists that are doing your nano techniques?
I'm very proud. I'm very happy, and I'm very happy for their success. No, I don't look at myself that way.
No,
no, I don't I'm very happy for those people that are doing big things in the industry, staying humble and ethical, and just sharing their knowledge. And they're putting their spin on what I taught them. It's not necessarily my technique. They're putting their little spin on things and making it their own technique.
Yeah,
I'm just a small part of their success.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, that's probably most. Right, they're putting their own spin and doing their own thing. There's always going to be those that take your course and go out and, completely mimic, and copy everything and put out a duplicate class, just stamp their name on it. I think that happens to. We got into a conversation about this earlier. It happens to every single trainer, I think. And it can discourage trainers from being really super open and generous with their knowledge and putting their handouts and everything they learn, up on an online class, because I hear that a lot. They're afraid. I'll get asked all the time. You've been teaching. You're super generous with your information. You've got online courses. Aren't you worried about people taking your class, stealing your stuff, and a month later putting out a course? And I'm like, well, if I'm going to be afraid of that, then I'm going to be living in fear every single day.
It's going to happen.
It not only is it going to happen, it has certainly happened with me, especially regarding lift. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've blatantly caught, caught people using my same exact handout, same exact verbiage and, whatnot. So it is going to happen. So, but you didn't let that stop you. You're super generous. So why doesn't that stop you, Mary? Why, despite that happens, it has happened to you and it breaks your heart.
Well, and I've had to take legal action on people too. And I've won every single one. All they have to do is ask me. Give me credit.
Right.
I would give it to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've had students take my manual and duplicate my entire manual, and I see it on a post in a training. Mm-hmm. I've had to literally send letters from my attorney. Our stuff, we put a lot of time and effort into what we put together. And I'm proud and I'm flattered that they like what we put together, but it's not right to take someone's hard work And you know what I mean?
Well, it's illegal.
It's illegal. All my stuff's copyrighted. All of my stuff. My new manual we just did, it's copyrighted.
Yeah.
So I am not afraid. I have the means to take legal action on people that will blatantly steal my stuff.
Yeah, you're not afraid.
I'm not afraid. And
I'm not afraid either.
Yeah.
And I take action as well. I'll protect my material and my stuff. But you know, it's like you can't be afraid. I mean, there's something in you and I and many, many others that drive us to lecture, to teach, to train, to mentor, to put together these training manuals and these training programs, right? I mean, I can speak for myself personally. I'll sit down in front of the computer and I will type for 8, 9, 10 hours, putting together chapter after chapter after chapter. It's a lot of work.
She speaks the truth. She speaks the truth. Yeah.
Well, I'm super detailed the way I think, and so that comes out in my writing. I think the way I write and the way I teach is pretty recognizable. The way you teach and you write is pretty recognizable. And I stand with you. Just ask me if there's something. If there's a chapter in my course that you really like and you think your students would benefit from it, then ask me, and
exactly,
I think all good trainers want is credit, right? If you're taking something from a course and you're going to repurpose it, for your own courses or, in-person classes, I mean, reach out to us, definitely give us credit. Don't try to pass it off as your own because once people find out,
they know.
It ruins your reputation.
They know. And like, I'll have a group of students and I go, listen, if you have any questions whatsoever regarding removal, even though you're not a student at Teryn's, call Teryn, reach out to Teryn. She will respond.
Yeah.
Not because even if you're not a student, she takes the time to still give you good advice or mentor kind of from afar. I go, that's kind of how we are.
Yeah.
I don't have people that come and message me in the middle of the night aren't even my students. Hey, Mary,
right.
I hate to bother you. I'm like, no, if I'm awake or not out of the country, I will respond.
Yeah.
But you're the same way. We really give 110%. I don't lose sleep over. If someone steals my stuff, karma will get them.
Right.
I'm not going to lose sleep over because it's happened for years against me and you.
Yeah.
My photos have been stolen. My content's been stolen. But that's okay. The ones that I do go after, they know ahead of time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just one of those things where just ask me. I will be more than happy to help you any way I can.
Yeah.
And I have a couple girls that train with me. I'm like, girl, you're ready to train. Like, you're good.
Oh,
you're good. And whatever I can do to help you. They're like, oh my God, can I use this page? I'm like, absolutely. You deserve to train.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I am very forthcoming with my information to my students. And I feel good about it. I mean, feel really good about it. And let me just put this out there. A lot of my students are better than me.
Yeah.
They are really good at what they do, and they're going to have a long career ahead of them. So I always tell my students, I go, they're like, oh, Mary, I want to be like you one day. I'm like, it took me 18 years to get to where I'm at today.
Right.
Just take your time, enjoy your life, enjoy the fruits of your labor, and don't do this because I'm making $20,000 a month or $30,000 a month. You have your whole life ahead of you to make this money. Yeah. Enjoy your craft. Else you're going to get resentful.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's the truth.
No, I think that's the truth
Yeah.
too. So do you think the new generation of artists, the younger artists that they're in their 20s and 30s, these younger artists, do you think that they're better? They're better than like you and I, are the artists like in our generation. Do you think they're better artists?
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Hands down. Trainings have gotten a lot more detail oriented, but people are also learning. Like I would follow somebody, I'm like, ooh, I would look at things and learn from it too.
Yeah.
You didn't know nanostrokes wasn't around when I was hair strokes, nanostrokes, microblading. It's all hair strokes. But back in the day, no one was doing hair strokes.
Yeah.
I was like the only person in Florida people would go to, and I was booked out a year and a half.
Well, I can remember in the United States, like the PMU industry didn't really like hair strokes.
No.
I can remember going to conferences, and if someone showed a picture of a hair stroke in a lecture or lectured about hair strokes, I mean, like the whole audience would get like a little turned off. You'd hear some snide remarks under the breath. I mean, it was the solid eyebrow with not that much artistic skill to it. You know, you're talking late 80s, you know, I mean, that's before you and I, you know, but I mean, we started in the
old school Sharpie marker,
the early 2000s. But by the time I came into the industry, you know, early 2000, you know, that was our the standard to reach, you know, that solid eyebrow without any gradients, without any, you know,
didn't
soft
exist.
edges.
You weren't even taught that in fundamental school whatsoever.
No, you weren't taught that at all.
Pack that color in. Yeah, it's true.
So, and so that was a question I was going to ask you is what was permanent, like, according to you, your memory, your experience, what was permanent makeup? What was it like?
Oh gosh.
Back then when you started?
It was amazing because there was only a handful of us doing it.
Yeah.
So when you Googled permanent makeup, Florida, I was the #1 Google search in America and Canada for probably 5 or 6 years without even doing any paid nothing. It was just all natural and organic. I was literally working 12-hour days, and I was like, I just wanted to just bring them all in and do them all, to the detriment of almost losing my marriage, and I never saw my kid. So I always say to the ones getting started now, you know, it's so different. It's so delusional. There's one in every corner. There's a microblader or a permanent on every corner now, it seems like.
On every corner.
Yeah, so I was lucky. I was lucky because I worked in plastic surgery. In the operating room, I had built-in clientele. I worked for the surgeon for 3 years before I went off on my own. So before surgery and after surgery, I was doing permanent makeup. So, and then when 2008 hit, the economy crashed, never skipped a beat. I was busier than I ever could have imagined.
That was my busiest year.
It was my busiest year.
Yeah, me
these
too.
women, they'll find a way to get their Botox and their permanent makeup.
Yeah,
no,
for sure.
hands down.
For sure. And that was, and I thought permanent makeup was amazing and fantastic in that regard as well. It's, you know, same in Vegas when you Googled permanent makeup, you know, I came up, I was like, it was an older industry back then. I think most of I think the SBCP did a study, and the age of the average woman entering PMU was like mid-40s. It was almost like a second career, like a second chance at a career. I remember that study coming out years ago. And so in Vegas, you know, when I came onto the scene, you know, I was the youngest one doing it. I had a very different look than all the other ladies. You know, they were ladies. Yeah. You know, and I never really saw myself as a lady. You know, I was tattooed and pierced, and I had a body tattoo. You know, I was just different, and I stood out, and it didn't take me long to get a really good clientele. You know. But it was a little bit harder to market, you know, because you didn't have social media. So, you know, and now, why do you think, Mary? Because now, like you said, you know, when you and I started, there wasn't that many people doing it. It was a much smaller industry, and there's both good and bad, right? That comes with that. There's both pros and cons that come with that, just like everything else. But here we are, 20 years later, you and I. And we're not still here. We're still thriving. Yeah. We're still relevant. Yeah. We're still in demand. We're still doing podcasts and students and being asked to speak at conferences, and we still have clientele. And why do you think when so many people that blew up and possibly were even bigger, became bigger names than you and I, 5-6 years later, you know, gone. They drop off. Yeah. Why do you think you and I are still here, still relevant?
I can tell you
still
why.
Rocking and rolling.
I can tell you why. One, we are humble. We are thankful and blessed, and we appreciate what we do, and we love what we do. And I think that we're not pretentious. We truly care about our students and our student success, because their success is our success, right? Yeah. I just think, we follow, high standards and ethics and sanitation. And I think we just put, what's the word? We put, the well-being of our students first and foremost. And I just feel like ethics is huge in the industry. We share the good, the bad, and the ugly. Lord knows I've told my students some horror stories of things that have happened to me, hence all my 20 plus addendums, the things that have happened to me or my colleagues. And I share all that with them. So hopefully they'll never have to live, or I can save them an ounce of grief from that client. You know what I mean? So and to this day, it still happens to me. It still happens to all the best of us.
No, it seriously does. And I think, you hit it on the head when you said, our students' success is our success. And I think a good trainer, in some kind of fucked up way, maybe we shouldn't, but we do, we measure our own success by the success of the students, right?
I agree.
I mean, you kind of do. I mean, whether you want to or not. So, and certainly not all trainers are in it. And I think when you and I started training too, Mary, there wasn't a lot of money in it. Back 20 years ago, you did not start training because you could make a lot of money.
Right.
I mean, you made more money seeing clients.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely. Than training. And so I think, so back then you trained but because you really wanted to. You really, really wanted to. You wanted to make a difference. You wanted to help. You felt you had something to share with other artists, and you felt you could help other artists, level up and help them achieve their goals and become, better artists. More successful. I mean, that's why a lot of us did it back in the day, because the money really wasn't there, and so we got into it back when it wasn't a lot of money. And not only was there not a lot of money back then, but it wasn't like the accolades. It's like, if you're a big trainer now, that helps carry your name. You can become a big name because you're a big trainer. Back then, no one cared really if you were a trainer. It wasn't like this prestigious title. It just wasn't, right?
And my students ask me all the time, like, Mary, when did you start training? I always tell people, when people ask you, do you train, you're probably ready if they like your work. I just feel like, we've ridden the wave for a long time, Teryn. We've been pretty blessed. And I thank God every day for all the blessings that we have. I don't really, it comes to me. It just comes to us. You know what I mean?
It's just something you wake up every day and you do.
It's effortless. And I just feel like, I'm going to ride the wave as long as I can, as long as the permanent makeup industry wants me there to help and train and mentor. I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere for at least 20 more years.
20 more years. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, you'll be a ripe old 55.
Yeah. No, I'm going to do this for as long as I'm able to. I may not be a trainer for all of those years and stuff, and maybe pass the baton on to my daughter one day. But no, I'm happy where I'm at right now in my life. You know? I mean, we've been training. Well, when we started training, I was only training about a year before you and I started Shades and Strokes. So what's about 11? I've been training 11 years.
Yeah.
Actually, I've been training for as long as however Monica Ivani's daughter is, because she was pregnant with her daughter was my first training. So I think she's 9, maybe going on 10. She was pregnant with her daughter. Yeah. My very, very, very first class ever in Ireland.
So it wasn't long after that
we started Shades and Strokes.
You and I met and started Shades and Strokes.
And that went on for 7 years because we had 3 years off because of COVID.
Yeah. That went on for 7 years.
16 or 17 classes, which were unbelievable.
Yeah, because we did 2 classes a year, and there was
1 year we did 4.
1 year we did 4. We
2
took
in
it
Vegas, 1 in Canada, and 1 in
England. And every single class sold out.
Yeah, well, we had 44 in the England class when the heat wave was
I
there.
remember the 44 students in the UK. Yeah,
the
in
heat wave.
England. It was
Teryn doesn't normally sweat.
Oh my God.
She was soaking wet.
Well, oh my God. Well, England's usually cold and drizzly, and
we went in July.
We went in July, and there's no air conditioning.
Nobody has air conditioning.
No, and oh my Lord! I mean, it was a heat wave that particular week that we were there.
Very hot.
It was really
the
super
little
hot.
cottage we were in. We couldn't open the windows because there was beehives everywhere.
Because there were beehives there. You'd open a window and all these bees.
We had baby goats in the backyard.
Bees would come in, and then the shower was backed up. We would take a shower and water would be up to our knees because it was all backed up. But that's something we look back on, and
such good memories,
great
and
memories.
fun
We laugh about it. What an experience! We were over there for 3 weeks that particular trip, but that was great.
I had my first Wagyu steak. Your wife introduced me to that Wagyu steak at that Italian restaurant. Those little narrow stairs.
Oh,
we
yeah.
climbed up in London.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
It was so much fun.
Such good memories.
Such good memories. So what do you think has been, so a lot has changed with the industry over the last 20 years. What do you think has been the biggest game changer for the industry?
Good or bad?
Either.
I think it's just a little too easy to become a permanent makeup artist without the proper training. I think it's just a little too easy.
Yeah.
I feel like, when I had my training originally, it was 30 days. I literally did 30 days of training. Half the students I've trained recently I'll go over the first day with them like, oh my God, Mary, I can't do a model tomorrow because I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
So they come back to me for a third day at no charge so that I can work on the model. I go, you need to know all this first. I just feel like they're not properly trained in all aspects of permanent makeup. Well, you can cut someone's grass one day, go online and pay $60 for a license and get a bloodborne pathogen, and you can start cutting on someone's face the next day.
Yeah.
That's how easy it is.
But it doesn't make sense. I mean, because in most states, Las Vegas, California, I mean, you want to cut and dye hair, it's 12 monts. It's a year, and it's a 40-hour week.
Yeah.
I mean, here in Vegas, you want to learn to cut hair, be a hairdresser. It's a 40-hour a week for 12 months, and that's most, hairdressing curriculums. It's like a year. But you want to take needles and ink to someone's face, someone's eye area, for Pete's sake. Yeah, it's
so lax
a weekend.
In so many places. Like Florida was like you could just cut someone's grass 2 days and then take a course and you'd be working on someone's face. But you have to be an esthetician to put eyelashes on someone's face.
Yeah, it
but
doesn't.
Cut someone's eyebrows open. Colorado is probably one of the strictest states. Had I known what I know now, things would have been a little different with me moving there at the time that I moved there. But you have to be an esthetician. You have to have 132 hours on your belt in a Colorado state approved school.
Wow.
I got reciprocity because I've been in the industry for so long. And just for me to do my classes in Colorado, I had to go through their department, the DPOS. So the biggest accredited school is working with me. So I'm hoping to get that situated here really, really, really soon so that I can do everything properly. I'm not going to slide on. You know how many trainers come into Denver under the radar and certify people without
anybody knowing?
No. Yes.
Yeah.
And they can't do it because it's against the law in Colorado.
Right.
And they don't tell them.
So the students end up not being able to.
They can't work in Colorado.
They can't work in Colorado.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be an esthetician. You have to have a permanent makeup with minimum of 132 hours.
Yeah.
So Morgan got trained in Florida. Had I not known, we didn't know. It didn't carry over.
Right.
She had to do an additional fundamental training in Colorado. She's got 212 hours of training, which is good, but it was too full.
Well, there's so much money in training. I think a lot of these trainers just don't care. They're just doing this big, huge circuit, city after city after city after city, these 2-day classes.
No hands-on training, no touching skin.
No, and they're making millions, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And no one's really getting trained.
Yeah,
you know?
Sad,
yeah, it is sad. And I don't really get too caught up in all that and pay attention too much because it's disheartening.
It's just a waste of energy.
Yeah, it's a waste of energy, and I don't want to really police the industry. That's like not what I want to be to the industry. And
we basically learn what not to do.
Yeah, learn what not to do, what doesn't work.
Yeah,
and then pivot and stay focused on the positive things and what does work.
Right.
And hopefully one day laws and regulations will catch up, to the industry, to the states, and there'll be some sort of guideline, training guidelines.
The one thing with like Department of Health and the regulatory boards, they don't base it on artistic skill. Did you pay your fee? Then you can do it. But if you're botching someone's face, it's okay. We're not basing on artistic skill.
Right.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Okay, so that's. I was going to ask you what irks you the most, but it's probably what irks you the most too.
The lack of ethics, I think, in the industry.
The lack of ethics.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of great people,
Yeah.
People with strong ethics and, doing everything for all the right reasons. And then on the flip
side, handful that just are out there, spreading and doing the wrong thing, and people are literally learning from it, and it's not the right way. I just bite my tongue.
Yeah,
I bite my tongue. I don't want to get involved in the drama. I bite my tongue, and hopefully they'll learn hard lessons themselves and not do it in the future. That's all
Yeah.
you can wish for them.
I don't get involved either.
I don't get involved.
I think one of the things that irks me the most is probably more so than the lack of training, because it's probably the misinformation people put out there in order to sell their product.
Yeah.
That's what I cannot stand. So we started a new thing called Myth Slayer. So so we're going to be posting things like on Instagram Reels and our TikTok, Myth Slayer, and like for example, someone on a Facebook board who makes income off an organic line posted that you can't create pixels with an iron oxide. It's virtually impossible. You cannot get pixels with an iron oxide. And man, did that irk me, because it's so not true. I mean, I have an artist right here, Michonne.
I did it.
Yes. And I do it every now and then. Michonne does it every flippin' day with that single needle in LI Pigments Aqualine. She gets the craziest pixels you've ever seen. And so did you get that picture I sent you, Olivia, in your email? So this is how the universe works. So I'm like, ooh, Myth Slayer, Olivia, okay, you can get iron oxides, you can create pixels with an iron oxides. Of course you can. So such a ridiculous statement.
Everybody that comes out with something ends up bad-mouthing another company to try to get theirs to look better.
Well, usually there's something to gain. The only reason, mostly, someone is saying negative, crap about iron oxide is because they make money off organics.
Exactly.
And vice versa. I have seen people say negative things about organics. Mm-hmm. And if you, look a little closer, they're distributing or making money somehow off iron oxides.
Yeah.
And LI Pigments has always made both or organics and iron oxides. And so, there's a real beauty to both, a real need to both. There's pros and cons to both types of pigments, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, on the Girls Inc. board, like 4 or 5 days ago, right after I saw someone make that comment, someone posted a picture of an eyebrow she did with Navajo Brown, and she highlighted and look at those pixels. Now, of course, she didn't know about this other post on this other board.
Yeah.
She just posted a beautiful eyebrow picture. It happened to be done with Navajo Brown, and she was so proud of those pixels that she commented about her pixels. And it was really cute, just super proud of herself. And so, I went on there. I said, this is like, oh my God, like this is like so perfect. Can I use your picture? I'll give you credit, of course, because I just saw on another board someone commented that you can't create pixels with an iron oxides.
Were they being specific to LI?
Not specific to LI, just iron oxides.
Okay,
they were saying iron oxides, right? And everybody knows aqua and velvet are predominantly an iron oxide. They do have, a little bit of organics, in them here and there, but they're predominantly iron oxide. So I said that. I said, because I saw someone on another board comment that you cannot create pixels with an iron oxide. And the comments just started coming. And quite a few people have said, that's ridiculous. And one person said, on the contrary, I actually get better pixels with iron oxides than I ever did organics. So it's not a matter of if it's an iron oxide or organic.
It's technique. It's
all technique. It's all operator. But those are just some of the things.
They're going to learn hard lessons by doing and posting like stupid derogatory things like that.
Yeah.
And there's people that who have made really bad comments and posts. I'll private message them like, take that down. Mm-hmm. You're not looking so good. And I will, just trying to be nice, take it down.
Well, you never, ever, ever look good trying to make someone
look bad
or something look bad.
Absolutely.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And is it really worth a few more sales in your cart or, whatever you think you're gaining out of it? I mean, that's the thing that irks me the most. If you have nothing nice to say about a person, a class, a product, a pigment, a machine, then shut up.
Yeah. We have 19 years of hearing this stuff, 20 years, whatever, hearing this stuff.
And it never stops irking me.
Yeah.
I just don't like the meanness of that.
Yeah.
I think what people don't think about is the people behind the product, the people behind a particular product, a particular machine, a particular pigment line. These are families, mothers, daughters, children, aunts, uncles,
everybody.
A whole team of a staff,
Yeah.
a whole employees that pay their bills, off that particular company or product or whatnot. And so, it just really, really irks me. Just shut up.
It's not necessarily always the pigment. People always want to blame the pigment. It's their skin. It's their lifestyle. It's their medications. It's their creams. So many variables.
They'll blame needles.
I know.
They'll blame the. You know how many times we get emails that your machine, this they'll buy a machine. And it is a popular name. We only carry the most popular machines, trending machines in the industry, all by popular manufacturers. The Rook, Microbel, Bishop, Tetzel, all great machines. And we will get people that email us, no lie, this particular machine, it doesn't work. It doesn't implant. I'm like, oh my God.
Or I get the one that go, God, Mary, I bought this machine, these needles, and I just not putting color in.
I know.
Send me a video. Well, you got to rotate the, you got to bring the needle out. They're like,
yeah.
So little certain things like that. They don't know how to use the machines. That's why your machine course is probably so wonderful.
Yeah.
But some of the silliest things, I love all my
some of
my
the
students.
silliest things.
I literally giggle when I'm like, oh God, this is because she's going to feel like so weird when I tell her this.
I know.
Simple as twist the knob.
I know. I think some people are just really quick to blame the product, the pigment, the tool, rather than.
And that's why it's important to have in-person training, so people can show them. You can't learn a lot of this stuff online. You just can't.
No, you just cannot.
You need to touch the skin. You got to touch the machine.
It's very tactile. Our industry is very, very tactile. You need tactile training. I have an online academy. You have your courses on there. You have your nano strokes course, which is excellent. You have your microneedling course on there. So there's a place. At a certain point, you can take online classes, and that's going to be enough for some people. But if you're a newbie, there's nothing wrong with taking an online course and viewing that course, watching the videos, reading the material, absorbing it. But then you need to back that up with hands-on.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you're skilled enough, then maybe you don't. If you already do a great ombre brow, but you want to watch Mary's online or Seng, like somebody already doing great ombre brows, but they want to learn a couple of different nuggets, maybe the way someone else does it. And
I did Na's course, and it was a game changer for my powder brow.
Yeah, Na is a great trainer, teacher. She's very articulate.
Yeah.
That course is well done. So anybody wanting to learn how to do a powdered brow, ombre brow, shaded brow using single needle and smaller needles. Great course to take.
I learned a lot. I thought I knew everything till I took it.
Yeah. I've learned a lot from every single course on my academy. I take all of them. Olivia does too. We have to watch them and read through the chapters, watch the videos to make sure, everything's good quality. They're everything aligns with the standard of Girls Inc., myself and what we stand for, the type of quality of education we want to put out there to people. So we watch everything. And I'm always learning from you, Mary. So mostly you do nano brow. Everybody knows you do nano brows. Your course, Rockin' and Rollin', very popular course on the Girls Inc. Academy. Well, because it's very easy to follow. I've said, if I haven't said this 1,000 times, I've said it 1,000,000 times. Your pattern, I have an accent, so I say it a little bit weird, but
my patent, my pattern.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Your pattern.
I'm messing with you.
I know you are, but some people might not know what I'm trying to say. But your pattern, your mapping pattern, the way you lay your strokes. Everybody has their own pattern, right?
Yeah.
Some are so difficult. Really freaking difficult. I mean, I've sat down trying to learn other trainers' patterns, for them hair strokes, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so Yours are very simplistic.
And I just updated it with another one, so I have, I think, 3 or 4 patterns now.
You got 3 or 4 new patterns on there, and you uploaded a brand new handout,
manual workbook, 63 pages
to hand out. Right. So, and the way we do our courses, I don't want to stay too long on this. Is you pay the fee to enroll. You're on it a year. You get a year access, and then it's $99 to renew every year. And and the reason we put that $99 renewal fee in there is because, most of the courses are being refreshed. Yeah. You're adding to your course throughout the year.
As a student, as a trainer, and I want to keep adding to it.
Yeah, and I do too on the lift course, on my powder brow course, my machine course.
I had a good mentor. I learned that from you.
Well, you can't let your courses get stale and get dated. You have to keep them relevant, keep them fresh, or no one's going to want to take it. It starts to be dated. Mm-hmm. And so that $99 renewal fee, I think, is like super fair, and it's a great way. So everybody that's been on that course for 2 years, now they're getting a brand new manual, 3 or 4 new stroke pattern, hair stroke patterns. You're always adding to that course. So someone that maybe has access and hasn't looked at it in 6 months, go back and look at it.
It's completely changed.
It's the same. You're teaching the same, but better. Yeah. But better. But I think
every year we want to get better. We strive for improvement every year. I mean, we're our own worst critics, aren't we? So
don't you find that being an in-person trainer, because we were in-person hands-on trainers for a long, long time, and now we're online trainers, and it's different, Mary. And I never really looked at it that way. I just thought training was training, but it's different. There's hands-on training when you got them in front of you in a classroom, and then there's online training. And in online training, you have to keep that course refreshed, and you have to be able to connect with them. You have to be able to, grab that student and pull them in, draw them in, and they have to connect with you. They need to feel your passion. And that can be hard to do online via a computer screen, right?
Well, I'm not sure if those that have taken my course either, but so someone said they want to go, Mary, I loved your course, but I need you to watch me do a model. I want you to watch me in skin. I deduct my portion of the course off my fee, and I only charge them $1,000. Right. If they bring the model to do a full day with me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and if someone takes a 2-day class with me and I feel like they're not ready right then and there to do a model, I give them a 3rd day for free.
Right.
So I'm not just going to give them a certificate to give them a certificate. It's not going to happen. So there's people just are not ready because they weren't properly fundamentally trained to learn the basics.
Right.
Before going into skin with a single needle, and it's very sharp and it could injure somebody. So, yeah. And my students are taking me up on it. I've got tons of people coming at this end of this year, early next year, taking me up on my free day, and they're so excited and they're killing it because they have another month or 2 to practice.
Yep.
And then when they come in, I'm like,
you're a good trainer. You're a good trainer. You're a dedicated trainer, and you're patient. You really are. So the other service. So Nano Queen, you do hair strokes. Hair stroke eyebrows. You don't really do eyeliner, lips, and areolas. Nope. You don't get into that. You kind of focus on that hair stroke eyebrow and made that your focus and your passion all these years. But you also do microneedling.
Yeah, I love microneedling.
Microneedling. So can you just explain, really briefly, what microneedling is? Mm-hmm. Like how does it work, and does it really work?
Right. So I've been doing microneedling since 2009. I think I'm 4 or 5 times certified through several companies, Rejuva. I've taken several courses. I'm not going to mention some of the names because they're no longer around, but I've taken several courses. And then I've also trained it in Holland, Italy, and also in Ireland after about 4 years of doing it. Microneedling is when you actually just make little microscopic punctures into the skin with either a 9 or 12 pin cartridge, single-use disposable with a membrane, obviously. And you just, glide the needle across the skin, causing microscopic punctures, which produces the good trauma to the skin. It produces your collagen, your elastin, your fibroblasts, and your melanocytes. So does it work? I think my pictures speak volumes on my website. I love doing microneedling. I've been doing it. I probably do, out of every 10 clients, I probably have needled 6 of them. It's common practice in my studio. My daughter does it. It does work. Now, people need to be patient with the healing process because most of the time they don't think that it's a big difference. So you put the pictures side by side. I feel like it's a more effective and cost-effective for my clients who can't afford the Fraxels, the big expensive lasers and stuff. Yeah. I charge $500 for full face, neck, and chest. And
$500?
Yeah.
Yep.
And my clients, they'll come back every 6 months to a year to have it done again.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pictures speak volumes, and I just keep it I'm a minimalist. I don't do a bunch of serums and creams, and I don't sell a bunch of retail. I give them a bottle of hyaluronic acid, the bottle of sterile water, and that's all I do. And it goes home with them.
Well, isn't it true the more serums and the more things you introduce to the procedure, the higher the risk of infection,
allergic reaction,
complication?
Absolutely.
So you should keep it really simplistic.
Yes, and I learned a lot from Lance Setterfield's books. You know, he's got 2 great books out there. You can get them on Amazon. Less is more. I do the same thing with my hair strokes. Less is more.
Right.
You know, I just put a picture up too where I did one pass and I stopped on this redhead and it all faded about 30%, but it was there when she came back.
Right.
You know, so I just feel like I'm the same way with my needling.
Yeah.
I want to produce great results. I'm efficient when I do the needling. I'm a little aggressive. I never go deeper than 1 millimeter on anybody. Certain states
like
have
ever. Yeah.
People don't believe me. They come at me like, Mary, there's no way you did that at 1. I go, well, you're going to 3.5. You're going past the area of where you need to be.
Right.
I go, trust me, come into my office. No, I'll show you.
Right.
So I I've never gone deeper than 1. Now, have I poked deeper into a scar that was deep? Maybe a little bit deeper. But
you do that.
That's pointillism.
Pointillism or stamping. You call it stamping.
And I'll use a permanent makeup needle. Just go right into it.
Yeah, and you've got your microneedling course on the Girls Academy as well. And you did my landlord, Vicky, and the property manager, her right hand lady, Linda, and both of them saw a big difference, and I did ask them. I mean, seriously, because
I should get their pictures while I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, they both of them saw a really great difference. And Vicky was, because you did Linda's hands, and Linda and she had some
age spots. And I did a spot on her arm that healed really nice.
And Vicky was like, the difference in Linda's hands in those spots were absolutely remarkable. So, I mean, that was really great, because I love those 2 ladies. And so I was hoping they got a visible difference.
Yeah.
And they did.
And this is by no means, anybody that's listening, this is not a facelift. This is not going to get rid of loose skin. This is going to help with texturing. You'll get a little bit of tightening, maybe 5% on good collagen producing skin. But as we age, after the age of 48, we stop producing collagen.
Yeah.
It's good.
So what's the biggest benefit? Why would a lady spend $500 to get her face and neck done? What's the biggest benefit like someone would get, Mary?
It starts to stimulate collagen again.
It stimulate collagen.
It stimulates collagen, your fibroblast, your own growth serums, and your own melanocytes. So people have hypopigmentation and so on.
So it gives you a
texture, smooths texture.
Smooths your texture.
It helps reduce. I never say it's going to get rid of anything. If it does, it's a bonus.
Right.
It minimizes the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. The makeup goes on like butter. It's like a natural glow.
I think it gives you this overall, just a little bit refreshed.
I have one in my bathroom
youthful
at
look.
home.
Yeah.
And I literally keep it at 0.25. I have my little box of cards. I leave it probably twice a week. No numbing on that because I'm not going that deep.
Right.
I literally do it on myself.
Right.
So I am my biggest advocate, and I have my before and afters in my studio. That's what sells my service.
Yeah.
So, and I have before and after books of my clients, and I have a plethora of pictures on my website. So, yeah, no, it works. I'm a firm believer in it.
So let me ask you this. So, of course, it can be controversial, right? There's like the medical community that was really pissed off that PMU artists were doing it. And they try to make it like super illegal, and the doctors always do that, right? When other people outside doctors start doing it, of course we can charge way less than doctors. I think we were getting better results.
That's what it comes
because
down
I've done
to
my
money.
I started doing microneedling like 18 years ago.
Yeah.
I learned I actually learned from a doctor in South Africa, to be quite honest with you, and did it for quite some time and then stopped. And now I'll do it every now and then, but I'm not like, I didn't get into it the way you got into it. But yeah, and so why do you think it is a good add-on or a good service for a PMU artist to learn and bring into their practice? Well, one, they already have a PMU clientele. So if you got a PMU clientele, you got a microneedling clientele.
Exactly. Yeah, hit the nail on the head with that one for sure. Now, every state, county has different regulations. In Colorado, you have to have a medical director. I have a medical director because I'm a Botox injector, so I already have a director.
Right.
So It varies. Some states are gray. So if you call your board of education or board of cosmetology and they don't know what it is, you're probably safe to go and just do it.
Yeah.
I always say just do what you do till you get a letter.
Yeah.
When you get the letter, then you know. But you don't know.
Right. And a lot of states are super gray. There's no really.
Like in Florida, you could be a PMU artist to do it.
Yeah.
So,
but that makes sense to me because
you're working with needles.
You're
already.
working with needles. We already know the movement, the swiping movements, the pointillism movements. We already understand.
We're not even going any deeper than what we do with a stroke or machine anyways.
Yeah.
Even microbladers don't go that deep. So
Right.
So,
I think it's better and safer in the hands of a PMU artist than a doctor, to be quite honest with you.
And half my clientele, and I kid you not, women that spent $3-4 grand on Fraxels, services, peels, stuff, have better results. Like, oh my God, Mary, I cannot believe, and they see the pictures, how good this happened in one session.
Right.
When I dropped $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a laser that supposedly get rid of the wrinkles. They guarantee they'll get rid of the wrinkles.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do it, even like hardly touch it
and I've
at
seen
all.
a lot of burns.
Yes.
A lot of burns and some scarring, some hypopigmentation.
Yes.
I've seen some stuff from lasers, man,
Yes.
on quite a few of my clients that scared me from ever doing laser. I don't think I would ever do laser. And honest to God, I really don't think I would.
Yeah.
You know?
I wouldn't either. No, you don't need to.
No.
Well, you can do this as often as you want. Now, there's people that do facials all day long that are estheticians, do permanent makeup. They can segue that into their little service. Oh, I can do a skin healing facial on you, $100 a month. I'm stay at 0.25, like I do on myself in my bathroom.
Right.
And I'm not kidding you. My skin glows for a couple weeks. It just glows.
Yeah.
My makeup goes on like butter. And how I kind of talk my clientele into doing it. I'm like, so, I know most of my clientele has Botox or eyelashes. They're all about taking care of themselves. I go, the little areas under your eyes, Botox you have to stop at a certain area, right?
Yeah.
I hate that. I go, well, while you're laying here and numbing your brows, I can knock this out in like 2 minutes. I go, you got anything going on this weekend? They're like, no. And I would do it. Normally it's $250. I do it for $150.
Yeah.
While they're laying there.
So it's a great little add-on.
It's a great little add-on to my services.
Yes. And Michonne does it here.
Yeah.
She predominantly does all our microneedling.
I absolutely love microneedling.
Yeah, I know you do.
I love it.
So one last little question. Do you think if someone is a good PMU artist, like they understand depth, skin movement, that the online course is adequate? Not any online course, but your online course is adequate training for that particular PMU artist?
I absolutely do. And again, my offer always stands. You want to bring a model to me, I will watch you do it in my studio at no charge.
Yeah.
On that. So
I think we should do a microneedling course here.
Do it.
Yeah, maybe next year. This year we're already all like kind of booked up.
I have nothing available this year.
I know. You're like a gypsy. You're everywhere.
3 days after I get back here, I'm going to Florida.
I know. Yeah. So we're going to give everybody a little, can we give everybody a little discount?
Of course. Yes, please do.
Okay.
You're the boss.
Okay. So we came up with, so we're going to give everybody a 20% discount on your course.
I think it brings it down to like what, $359 or $389. It's like less than the cost of a procedure.
Yeah,
one procedure pays for this course.
Exactly. And now they'll get 20% off. So anybody listening to this podcast, MR for Mary Ritcherson, MR Skin, SKIN. So MRSKIN 20.
All caps.
All caps. That will be the discount code. Go to girlsinktraining.com, find your skin needling course.
Microneedling course.
Your microneedling course on the menu, and type MR Skin 20, and you'll get 20% off. Are we going to post that in the comments, Willow? Do we do that? Yes. Well, so we'll post that in the comments on our YouTube page if anybody forgets that. So, all right, Mary. So I always leave everybody with a quote.
Okay.
A little quote. So I've got one today. Okay. So, because we've been talking about training and just some things like this. So I thought this was kind of a great little quote.
Okay.
This will get people off their ass too. Because that's what I do. This is why we do this podcast. We want to get people up and off their ass. We want them. We want to inspire them. We want to motivate them. We want them to believe in themselves. Yeah. Right. Okay. So. There are people less qualified than you doing and accomplishing the things you want to do and accomplish simply because they believed in themselves. Period. End of story.
Oh, that's perfect. It's a nice way to end the podcast. That's nice.
Right? And doesn't that piss you off? Look around. You're going to see the people less qualified than you.
Yeah.
They're accomplishing more simply because they believed in themselves.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
100% nail on the head with that one for sure. Yeah.
So all you people out there that are struggling, believing in yourself, that are super qualified, just get out there and fucking do it, man. Life's short. We're not promised.
Be patient. Do it the right way. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day.
That's right. And those that rise quickly fall quickly.
Exactly.
So take your time.
And stay humble.
Yeah, stay humble. Well, thank you for spending the hour with us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now you got to go set up your classroom over in the training area.
Yeah, I'm getting ready. Yeah.
Cool. All right, everybody. Thank you. That was Mary Ritcherson hanging out with us today. Thank you. And we will see you next time on the Tatter-a-fact.